inverted Fox fork. We had a post go up talking about how this is potentially the first mainstream brand to go into inverted forks. And a little bit of heat. People are like, they've been doing it for years, whatever. I get it. I think, what we mean is Fox nor RockShox have done this yet. And hey, Fox with this new rad prototype fork, upside down, it's on some athlete bikes already, tells me maybe this is a real product. It's going to go to production.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. At Sea Otter, they had a few of their athletes running them, and I actually had the opportunity to talk to those riders. I'm not going to name names because they said they weren't supposed to say anything, so no names. But, I had the chance to talk to them. I thought it was cool that they were, letting them ride them, but they weren't even giving them to them. It was like, yeah, you can ride this at Sea Otter, but you have to give it back.
Yeah.
So it's pretty under wraps. They're not letting them out of their sights too far yet. Let's talk about some of the possible benefits. I mean, obviously, what was it? The early 90s, I think it was 1990, basically, upside down forks became standard on motocross bikes. And it dominated to the point where, what was it? I think maybe 97, Suzuki tried to do something, different in the market, and they went back to the right side up fork. And that was the only year Jeremy McGrath lost the Supercross championship in his career, except for the last season that he rode. So that gives you a little bit of an idea that there was a reason why they went upside down
benefits.
Forks. Yeah. The two main ones that stand out to me is the upper crown stiffness. Obviously, with the slide, the way a suspension works, you have the sliders that go into the lowers currently. So if you needed to increase the stiffness on the uppers, which we have seen on the 40s and now trail forks with 38s, that's the reason why they're doing it. But then the lowers have to get that much bigger.
Yep.
So when you invert that process, you can increase that stiffness without having to make the overall diameter of the fork from top to bottom bigger. So now you're saving weight, increasing stiffness. That's the first thing that I can think of, is that, the upper section of the fork being stiffer. The next piece would be the fork bath, kind of the oil and the lubricant that keeps the forks feeling smooth are always going to be right above the seals, right above the sponges there to keep the fork lubricated at all times.
Yeah, totally. I can see that. Forks in the past that have gone inverted, mostly downhill forks, which means, two clamps above, right below the stem and below the headset there. And, these don't have that. It is just a traditional crown to an inverted fork. Now, like I said, in the past, it's all been downhill forks. We've seen Intend and now Push move to a single crown inverted fork, and now Fox. It makes me wonder, there's no fork bridge. Will it be stiff enough? Will you get, sideways flex from your front wheel? Or is the fact that the fork's upside down and has larger diameter, the whole upper part of the fork is now fork body instead of just stanchions. Is that going to help?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That increased diameter of the upper section of the fork is going to create stiffness. Just think about, Cannondale did it with the lefty with only one side. So we know it's possible.
It's true.
I can't even tell you how many years ago when they first launched that, I was at Interbike, and they had this rig where you could test the side-to-side torsion stiffness, and even though there was only one leg, it was stiffer. Mm-hmm. So it is possible. Some of the key things that the riders, that was my question to the riders I was talking to, is what do you feel? And they said definitely increased stiffness on the uppers, that the bike just felt a little more connected to the ground. And then on the lower portions, they were saying they were feeling a big increase in traction because they had properly tuned that flex on the lowers for side hills, for that small bump compliance, maybe some of that high frequency compliance, really minimizing the vibration to the hands into those stiffer uppers. So, Fox knows what they're doing. They're going to be sick either way, but I think they're definitely going to be a consumer product in the next 6 months, I would guess.
6 months?
That's a guess.
Okay. I was going to say next year, Sea Otter maybe.
I mean, they're showing them.
They're showing them. I was thinking maybe Pros Bikes this summer, they're going to start racing with them, and then maybe...
Well, think about the cadence of product launches in history. There was a new 34. They just came out with a new 36.
Yeah, something new is happening. Definitely a whole refresh of that Fox line, for sure. Yeah, very interesting. It makes me wonder what's going to happen to the 40. If they're front running the 38 with this upside down technology, will we see, a dual clamp 40 inverted in the future? I think it's a no brainer.
I mean, the way that the bikes are getting ridden, it doesn't it doesn't surprise me that things are going more towards motocross, especially with e-bikes. The amount of time you can ride them, so you need that less fatigue on the body. So things are changing. Stiffness is more important because the bikes are 50 plus pounds. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see that stuff for sure.
Yeah, and I think that weight is an important factor here. I think there's no way that it's lighter than a traditional 38. We'll call it, if it's supposed to be the 38 replacement, I don't think it's possible that it can be lighter, really. But in that product, is weight really the biggest issue? I think it's ride quality, stiffness, and traction. Riders going in that direction. And then also, that would be a really great e-bike fork too, which weight is a little bit less of a problem there too. Same with downhill. You want to build the fork that rides the best, not the lightest. So I think it's the right product for that market. Now, we'll see if RockShox follows up with that. Big unknown. I think Fox really kind of jumped the gun on that. I don't know.
Yeah, big unknown. Where are they going to put the fender and make it not look like a dirt bike?
It's true.
Where?
Yeah. Can't hang it off your number plate.
No.